So you're looking at getting a new camera, and there are all these different questions that come up with that of what camera do I buy? What company do I go with? What is the lens selection? Well, there's one question that you should consider, and that is full frame or crop sensor cameras. And maybe that question has come up for you already, but I want to break that down. And can you even really tell the difference in the results of a crop or full frame sensor? Hey, what's up guys? My name's David Johnston, and in this channel we provide you with the best tips and tools to help you level up the success and love for your photography. So if you're into that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button right now. Now in this video, we're talking results. Can you even tell the difference between full frame and crop sensor? And if you look at what the layman's terms of what those are, crop sensor is just a smaller sensor within your camera, and usually a smaller sensor means less pixels that cover a smaller area surface. So if you look at like a crop sensor, something around like 24 megapixels, when you look at a full frame sensor, it's a larger sensor, has more surface area, so you can fit more pixels into it. So crop 24 megapixels, something like that. Full frame, you're getting somewhere around like 50 megapixels for the most part, if you look at the average of sensor sizes on the market right now. Now, weighing the options, obviously in life, we look at bigger is better, we need more, but really in photography, like, can you even tell the difference between that? And maybe what's the right fit for you in your photography? Because you don't want to lose sleep over this, and more importantly, you don't want to lose money over this, because full frame cameras cost a lot more. So let's look at examples here. Full frame versus crop sensor. These are two photos side by side, and I'm actually going to blow them up so you can see the detail in them. And I just have a question for you. Can you tell the difference in these two? I don't really know, and I honestly, shooting with both over my photography career, I can't really tell you to go one way or the other, because if I were to take photos of this and blow them up as prints, I can't really tell the difference most of the time. Now, if you are somebody who just loves going out and taking photos and you're not necessarily making really large prints, I would say that a crop sensor is something to go with here. Usually crop sensors are a lot smaller, they're a lot lighter, and they're a lot cheaper. Plus, you still have a lot of lenses to choose from when you do go with a crop sensor and a smaller sensor size. Now, a full frame person might say, well, I love the larger cameras. I do print large photos, and large is a relative term. When I say large photos for a full frame camera, what I'm talking about is a print that's like 3 to 4 feet wide, like massive prints here. I have crop sensor prints on my wall that are about 2 feet, and the resolution is amazing. So you need to ask yourself, what are your goals for your camera and what you want to get out of it? And should you go with crop or full frame? If you don't mind the weight and the size of a full frame camera, then go for it. If you can afford it and it's in your budget. If you want a smaller and lighter camera, go with the crop sensor. There's really no right or wrong here. It's just, what are your goals as a specific photographer? And what I really want you to know about crop sensor or full frame, if we look at it from a bird's eye view perspective, just looking at everything across the board, when you post something on social media, you know what the results are. You know what you use to create that. When you look at someone else's photo, what are you thinking when you see that? Maybe you're thinking about how beautiful the scene is or what the composition was and looking at that. Typically you aren't going, oh, this was shot with a full frame or this was shot with a crop. You really need to look at this as what fits you and not what other people are going to assume about your photo. Because that's what gets people a lot of the times, is they think they have to have a full frame camera because that's what pros use. And that's definitely not the case. If you look at what I was doing when I was starting, I had that same feeling. I had to get a full frame because that's what everybody else was using, when I didn't have the budget. I didn't have the resources or funds to get one at that time. And I used a crop sensor for the first 5 to 6 years of my photography, and it worked out just fine for me. Then I went to full frame thinking that I was going to get way better results, and that just didn't happen. Now I'm even thinking about going back to crop sensor to save money, weight, and space in my camera bag. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I just take the crop sensor with me. So think about what's the right fit for you. And again, let's put 2 more examples up on the screen for you to see. Can you even tell the difference between these 2 images for your crop sensor or full frame camera? Chances are it's a no, unless you're looking at this with a magnifying glass, and I highly doubt you are. So when you think about your camera selection, just go with what fits you and you'll be a happier photographer. Now I have some playlists for you here of using these cameras in the field over my entire career that I think you're really gonna find helpful, and here's another video that I think you're gonna like too.